happy December. I'm going to be working this month on all 10 of the sonatas for piano and violin because I'm preparing for performances in January of the complete set with my wonderful violin colleague from New Zealand who's coming just for this performance, Justine Cormack. And so I thought it would be fun to take you along on a December journey as I practice through all 10 of these sonatas. So today we are going to start with the last movement in the entire 10 sonatas. This is the fourth movement of the 10th sonata. And in each video that I do, I want to try to show you how I'm practicing these, but also I'm going to be focusing on applying technical and practice ideas to my own practice and hopefully have some takeaways for you to use in your own practicing. And at the end of each video, I'm going to share a little bit of a behind the scenes update and on what's been going on in my teaching and in my playing behind the scenes during the day. So let's get started with the last movement of the last sonata. Now, why am I starting with the last movement? The reason that I am starting with the last movement is because starting at the end is a very effective way to practice. If you only just start at the beginning and work your way forward, then a lot of times the hardest stuff you're kind of tired by the time you get to the hardest stuff. And so I'm starting at the very end of the sonatas and working my way backwards because the latter sonatas are more substantial, arguably, than the first ones, and so that I want to make sure that I give them plenty of attention. So that's the first takeaway, is start at the end and work backwards. Now, in my own practice, I did start at the very, very end, the very last page, and I worked my way backwards, but that can be a little confusing for you as the viewer to follow. So it's bad enough that I'm starting with the fourth movement. I'm going to just start with the fourth movement, but I'm starting at the beginning of the fourth movement. The fourth movement of the 10th sonata is a theme and variations. It's a very beautiful kind of dance-like theme and variations. And I'm just going to play the theme for you so you can kind of hear how it goes. That's the theme, and the piano has that at the beginning. Now, I'm going to just show you a few spots that I've been practicing that are a little bit tricky for me. So we're going to start with the fourth variation, looking in measure 115. So that goes like this, right? And then we have this. Now that's tricky because we have these two hands in thirds going down the keys and coordinating it so it doesn't just sound right. So we have to. So I'm going to practice that a little bit. Now the way that I find that works best for me to make it so that the hands sound more together is to actually play the quieter hand, in this case the left hand, much quieter than the right hand. So instead of trying to play them equally, think of the left hand as quite quiet, and then that kind of allows the right hand to lead. And then the other thing that you can do is break it into sections. So we have this. I'm going that far, and then I turn around, and then I have this part. So the right hand turns around. So focusing on slow motion. So, and I'm going to want to put that in context. Etc. So the takeaway there is when you have parallel scales in thirds or tenths or sixths, to try to play the left hand quieter so that it actually helps the ensemble. The second example I want to practice with you is measure 80. This part is just really hard for me. I just really struggle. And it goes like this. I'll play it kind of slowly. So it's hard because the left hand has all of this, just this long, long passage. And it's easy to miss some of those. So the way I'm going to practice this is looking at shapes, looking at how my arm is moving. So I'm going to play. So the first part is a rolling hand, a little wrist circle, and then I do a little rotation, wrist circle, and then I do rotation down to a wrist circle, rotation, wrist circle, rotation. This is where I really struggle. I have to remember. So, right, and so really the places that I'm trying to think about are this rotation at the end of the first bar, to remember to do that, and then this rotation as well. If I don't do that rotation, I'm going to miss the last note. Right there, another rotation. The other thing that has to happen is my finger actually has to be active. So what I'm doing now is I have to repeat it a few times. Every time I got to those spots, I was consciously rotating. I'll say it out loud this time. Rotate, 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 rotate. So all of those places, rotate, rotate, rotate. So remembering to rotate for me is what's helping me play this more effectively. Now the next way I'm going to practice this is I'm going to do it in rhythms. Etc. Now, to practice it in rhythms, I'm going to do it that way twice, stopping on one. It's the first note of each group of four that I'm stopping on. Etc. Then the next way I'm going to practice it is stopping on the second note of each group of four. Right, etc. So I'm not going to spend all this time and make you sit there and watch me practice it in rhythms, but that's how I'm going to practice it as soon as I turn the camera off. The third spot I want to work on with you is measure 205, and this is broken octaves. Broken octaves drive me crazy. I don't know about you, but they always, I just end up getting tight, right? No matter how hard I try. So it goes like this. I'm a little distracted with the camera on. I'm not used to practicing in front of a camera, so I'm just kind of thinking and practicing. I'll get used to it. Okay, so the way to practice this is to block it in solid octaves. And now here the pattern changes. So I've got to go over that a few times. Okay. And I'm just trying it fast. Now I'm going to do... rotate. So I'm very consciously rotating, and I'm letting the arm take the thumb where it needs to go. I'm not reaching with the thumb, because that's where I get tired, is if I'm going too much thumb motion. So I'm using the arm. And now here, I have to close my hand a little bit to get to this F and rotate. Jump in the left hand, so that's a little tricky. So that's, I gotta practice a few times. When I practice, especially this much repertoire, it's important to be very laser focused. And so I'm not gonna just go over and over like this, because that's like not so hard, but this is really the linchpin of the whole little passage. With my arm, how far my arm has to move. The other thing I can do is to use the fact my pinky is where my thumb's about to be in the left hand, because I'm going to jump down and the thumb is going to where the fifth finger just was. Oh yeah, that helps a lot. Now here, the hands go together, but then back to parallel motion, and that's tricky. And then here. So a passage like this, now I kind of analyzed it, I played it in solid chords and everything. Then the way that I'm really going to drill this is to practice it from the end. So I'm going to play really, okay, and now I'm going to go, so, and light. And I want to hear, so, okay, now one beat before. Now one beat before. That's the one, that's hard. Yeah. It's hard to be on the camera and practice at the same time, but it's funny. There we go. Now, a little faster. Wow. Now the thing is, this is really light, and it can't be that heavy, so I'm gonna practice a little. And instantly it becomes easier as well, because I'm more on the surface of the keys. Yeah, that's hard. I'm gonna keep practicing that. So I practiced 3 spots just now. And I want to summarize what the takeaways are. The first spot, we talked about playing the left hand quieter to improve your ensemble when you have parallel scales in both hands that are very fast. The second takeaway is to look at how the hand is supposed to move in passage work. Look for wrist circles, look for rotation, and be very conscious of moving it in that moment so that you are putting your fingers into position. And also to do some rhythm practice, stopping on the first note of each group of 4, second note, third note, fourth note, when you have long passage work that is tricky for you. And then the third takeaway is broken octaves. Using rotation, using the arm to help put your hands into place. Find the tricky place that is like where the pattern is broken and drill that. Play the chords solid and broken and work from the end of the passage. So those are our takeaways for today. I'm going to give you a little update on the day, a little behind the scenes update. Today we had our studio class, and that's when all the students play for each other, and it's kind of a workshop performance class. And we are getting ready for a student performance next Tuesday. And so 8 different students played in studio class. All of the students wrote comments for each other and on little index cards and exchanged those with each other with encouragement and suggestions for improvement. And we spent a lot of time talking about performance mindset and how to have specific steps and actions they can take between now and the recital to prepare themselves for their performance. So that's what happened for me today. Plus I taught like 6 lessons. I'm going to now turn off the camera. I'm going to upload this and I'm going to practice my Beethoven sonatas. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.